Mr. Nominee, you've given your name as George Opare-Addo, Esquire.
Yes, please, Mr. Chairman.
Have you, since birth, had this name and no other name?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a local name, but it's not on any of my certificates, so when I write it, I don't write it. My mother has a pet name she calls me.
Is this a name you have on your birth certificate?
Yes, please. On my birth certificate, it reads George Opare-Addo.
Please, you've given your residential address as Maple Avenue, Agbogba, Accra, on page 1 of your CV.
That's correct, Mr.
Respectfully, tell this committee how long you've lived at this residential address.
If I am not mistaken, ever since the NDC lost in 2016, because for 8 years I was domiciled in Ekropon when I was MCE. So when I lost, I moved to that address. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So, respectfully, do I take it that this was a property you acquired yourself, or you rented it immediately you moved out of government bungalow into it?
Mr. Chairman, it is my own property. Thank you.
Honorable Nominee, are you able to tell us whether you have title to this your property?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Not at the moment. I'm still working on the title because the area was demarcated, and I'm sure there was a ruling not too long ago on lands in those areas, and so we are still in the issues of resolving the issues of title. Thank you.
Are you aware of the laws of Ghana on property tax?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm aware of that.
Have you paid any tax to the state since? Wait, I'm not done. Have you paid any tax to the state since you bought this property?
Mr. Chairman, I did not buy the property. And every year I pay my property rate. The district assembly sends a rate to me and then I pay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Let me go to the educational background column of your CV, still on page 1. I know for a fact that non-LLB holders who desire to pursue the law program at the Ghana School of Law for some time back had to study for a qualifying certificate in law. On your CV, you state that you are a holder of LLB from GIMPA, and at the same time, you state that you pursued qualifying certificate of law from Ghana School of Law. If it pleases you, would you want Mr. Chairman's leave to amend this record?
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. It's a mistake, and I'm sure it was an oversight. So I'll need Mr. Chairman's to amend his leave to amend the CV. Thank you.
So may you take Mr. Chairman's leave to amend your CV and specifically what you would want to amend, and do so aloud.
So if it pleases the chair.
Honorable nominee, I realize it's a typo. The P, the professional certificate, is missing.
Certainly.
So you can amend and add it.
Honorable nominee, if you be pleased, may you take Chairman's leave to amend the records.
I've already granted leave that you can amend.
You should tell us.
A bit confused, if you can help me out.
Well, I noticed that what he's complaining about, QCL, can mean something else. Because the QCL, those who didn't go through law school have the opportunity to do that preliminary law course to get to the professional level. But anybody, those who didn't do LLB from the university, but you have done the LLB, you entered the law school, and you graduated as a professional lawyer. So it should be qualifying professional certificate in law. So I realized that the word professional is missing. So you have the opportunity to put the word professional there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm doing.
So what are you amending? No, he's still not done it. Colleagues, my dear guests, we are here for a serious business. Please bear with us. And Chairman, I think
Mr. Chairman, I have amended the professional certificate of law. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll give the floor to Roxanne.
Chairman, thank you very much. Chairman, I'm surprised about Ranking's approach. It is the practice of committees of parliament that where clerical errors such as this are dictated and there are corrections, the corrections are deemed effected consequentially pursuant to the leave sought from the chairman. So it is not the case that the nominee must take pen, make the corrections around the table. The correction is deemed done consequentially pursuant to the leave sought. So the document before each member on this committee is deemed corrected. The members will take pen and do the insertion where appropriate. I think that the ranking member, who is a senior member of this house, knows this. So we plead with him. He should make progress on this matter. Chairman, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we make progress?
Honorable Chairman, thank you. Honorable nominee, page 4 of your CV. You have the hobbies. Reading, playing football, surfing the internet. Let's go to the second one, playing football. How often or how regular do you play football?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Averagely, once every 2 or 3 weeks, I find myself on the field to play. And I play with a few of the honorable members of this House sometimes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Nominee, on the same page, you have references. 2 names are there. I shall first deal with the name Samuel Ofosu Ampofo. I am aware that he earned a PhD from GIMPA. Would you be fair to him to amend your records, which record currently stands at Mr. to Samuel Ofosu Ampofo, PhD? Would you? With the leave of Mr. Chairman.
With the leave of Mr. Chairman, I will make those amendments. Thank you.
Honourable members, amendment accordingly carried out.
Now, to take somebody as your referee, to me means a lot. Share with us how Dr. Ofosu Ampofo has inspired your career.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you indulge me, Honorable Samuel Ofosu Ampofo was instrumental in me coming into mainstream politics. In 2008, he was one of those who identified me and pushed me to become a parliamentary candidate for the NDC in Dakri constituency. In 2009, when His Excellency President John Evans Samuels of blessed memory nominated me to become District Chief Executive then, he was my regional minister. And then within that same period, he became the local government minister. When I became national youth organizer in my first term in 2018, he was my national chairman. And so I have had him in all my space through my political life. And that is how come, for my political experiences, I have learned and garnered a lot from Dr. Samuel Ofosu Ampofo. Thank you.
Who is Richard Addo?
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, Richard Addo is my big brother and a business mogul in this country. I worked under him in the private sector when I was working within the private space.
The company IGIT Group of Companies, are you a director of that company?
Mr. Chairman, I used to be a director until I joined politics and he cut me out. Thank you.
Since you're a lawyer and some law students would want to know some fact, did you resign as a director?
Yes, I did resign, Mr. Chairman.
Do you have some shares in the company?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have shares in some of my family's businesses.
Honorable Nominee, I am only...
They are asking the question with specific reference to a company. So your answer should relate to that specific company.
Mr. Chairman, the name of the company is IJIT Group of Companies. So it is not just one company in question. It's the IJIT Group of Companies. That is why I said I have shares in some of the companies.
All right, so let's do a little exercise there then, since you are. Now, on the IJIT Group of Companies, how many subsidiaries are there?
Mr. Chairman, I may not be able to volunteer that information rightly. I don't have all. I know there are a few companies in there, but I don't know the numbers because the company keeps growing. And because I'm not active in there, I may not be able to answer all the specific questions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The IG's group of companies, is it a holding company?
Mr. Chairman, like I said, it is not. It was structured. It was one company initially, and then we had other subsidiaries under it. But I left the company a very long time ago. In 2009, when I became municipal chief executive, I ceased working with the organization. But it sits in the family, so occasionally I find out what is happening. And I know I have shares, because my shares, I know how shares work. I have not relinquished of my shares and I've not taken them back. But I know that he's added on a few other companies. But as to what the structure is, I have not found myself asking those questions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable nominee. I don't want us to enter the company law classroom. But your juniors at the bar listening, your seniors and your contemporaries will expect certain answers, because these are very specific matters of law which you and I cannot do anything about it. Is it your case that a group, the name you've provided, IJIT Group of Companies, is not a holding company? Is that your case?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it's not a holding company.
I didn't hear that.
It is not a holding company, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable nominee.
Chairman, Mr. Addo, once you've told the committee, we are all students of the law, that IJIT Group of Companies has some subsidiaries, and it's trite, that is the holding company, with some subsidiaries they're under, with a different structure, directors, shareholders, and different shareholding structure. So don't worry, let's make progress on that. That's it. Yeah.
So that is why, I urge you to please pay attention, so that if we might have to do some corrections, or chairman would always grant you the leave to amend. I understand. We give out things to our secretaries to type for us, and sometimes they make mistakes. So I will move away from there. However, I need you to confirm whether the resignation that you tendered was a resignation to the Registrar General, where the Registrar of Companies, who is a custodian of all these the communications, whether you sent it to the secretary to process it at the Registrar of Companies.
Mr. Chairman, in 2009, when I resigned, I handed over my resignation, the letter to the then Chief Executive Officer of the company. Thank you.
Now, Honorable nominee, you have indicated membership of bodies and associations. Are you a Freemason?
Yes, I'm a Mason.
Who is your mother?
Amity.
In all difficulties and dangers, in whom do you place your trust?
The grand architect of the universe.
You indicated religion, Christian, into bracket, Presbyterian. Tell this committee how active you are in the Presbyterian Church.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not too active, but I'm a Presbyterian, baptized and confirmed a Presbyterian. Thank you.
How does you go to church doesn't mean you are active.
Are you an active church? You go to church.
No, me, I'm a pagan.
Mr. President
Somebody is a Freemason, so I'm also a pagan.
has told us that perhaps instead of enacting on the family value system, we should rather introduce the Ghanaian value system in our school curriculum. Do you fully support this view by Mr. President?
Mr. Chairman, I'm in full support of what the President has said. Thank you.
So just by way of recap, instead of Parliament enacting a law against this LGBT+++, you also share in the view that we don't need a law, but rather from our basic schools, our children must be taught and taught actively.
Honourable members, may I know where the view that we shouldn't pass the law is coming from?
Okay, very well. Chairman, thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, very respectfully, thank you for the question. I didn't want to bore us. Quite recently, when His Excellency had the honor of
Please go ahead.
When the President had the honor of receiving the Catholic clergy, the issue of the LGBT law came to the fore. Mr. President, in responding to the clergy, stated as follows, that one, he is aware that Parliament passed the law. However, since it got some potholes along the way, we already know the Supreme Court issue that came up. It didn't eventually get to the presidency for assent. That to him, a new discussion would have to come up, and possibly the Attorney General owning the bill. That is, it being owned by the states. Then he went further to say that perhaps if the discussion is escalated and we pay attention to introducing our value system in our schools for our children to know what our values are as Ghanaians. Perhaps there may be no need to enact. So that's the background. That's the background. Now, having that background, I just want to know from you whether you
I recognize Roxanne Afenyo-Markin on point of order.
Chairman, thank you very much. Chairman, gratuitously, I was one of the people who sponsored that legislation. And I listened to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama carefully when he had that engagement. I think the ranking member and the minority leader is misinterpreting and getting the context wrongly in regurgitating what is supposedly is attributable to the president. I think if he wants to make his point, he can make his point firmly without linking it to what the president supposedly said or not. To that extent, I think that he's misinforming the public. He is suggesting that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama says that there will be no need to pass that legislation. And that cannot be accurate. With all due respect to the ranking member, that cannot be accurate.
Honourable members, from even the narration of the minority leader, he said the president says the Attorney General may have to own that particular bill. What is the meaning of Attorney General owning a bill that is not going to be passed? Definitely, from his own narration, it means that the bill must be passed, introduced in Parliament by his Attorney General. The bill itself is seeking to promote Ghanaian family value. Therefore, the introduction of that bill in our schools is in tandem with the very bill. So how can the statement be to the effect that he doesn't want that bill to be passed? So please, let's make progress. If you can, minority leader can veer from that point and then we proceed.
Chairman, I've learned that patience answereth all. Honorable nominee, there is a school of thought that holds a view that we should enact a law as Parliament to promote proper Ghanaian family value and sexual family values and our sexuality. There is also another school of thought that holds a view that instead of an enactment, we should rather introduce our value system in our school curriculum. Being the minister designate for youth development and empowerment, well aware of the Gen Z thinking and how society has become fluid on a number of these issues, thereby diluting our value system. What option would you have out of these two schools of thought?
Option one, Mr. Chairman, thank you. A law being passed to promote our family values in our schools, and also make sure that things are done rightly. So we cannot use Gen Zs as an excuse. The older generation has a responsibility of bringing them up right, and that is what we must do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So, if God willing, you get the opportunity to serve in cabinet, do you assure the nation that when this matter comes up and these two schools of thoughts make a presentation, you will reaffirm your position on the enactment?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Ghanaians have heard you. I appreciate that. The issue of youth unemployment is of concern to all of us. Would you agree to a suggestion to the effect that our youth do not take advantage of social intervention opportunities that are often introduced by governments?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It cannot entirely be correct that our youth do not take advantage of social interventions introduced by governments. As a country, we've not been very intentional and deliberate about issues confronting young people. And so if we are intentional and deliberate, I believe we will achieve the results. We have paid a lot of lip service to issues that affect young people. And over the years, we have seen a lot of duplications, and so we have not built the right synergies to get the right results that we seek. If we put issues that affect young people at the center and focus and make the information available to them, I believe we'll be able to fix the issue of unemployment that confronts us. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable nominee, I would give you a practical background to the question I want to ask you. I claim your attention. I've been 8 years assemblyman in my 4th term as a member of parliament. The youth of Efutu, that's where I know. So I will use that as an example to lay the foundation and see how you react to it. Will come, they want to be empowered. I'm doing business. I need money. I want taxi, work and pay. Buy me car. I need industrial machine. Buy me, do work and pay. I need Prajia, buy it for me, I'll do work and pay. I need Aboboya, work and pay. I need outboard motor for fisheries, fishing, buy it for me, I will pay. I need canoe, buy it for me, I will go fishing and I'll pay. My experience from Efutu is that a lot of these opportunities end up as giveaways rather than the funds being plowed back for us, I will put it, the second batch or another batch. I've spoken or engaged a lot of my colleagues in parliament. The story is the same all over. First of all, as MC for 8 years, did you have such an experience to the issue so that we can have a national conversation?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When I was MC, we implemented a Let's Step program. Under Let's Step, I still know some of the people who benefited and are still using the equipment they got under Let's Step in the equipment of municipality. The challenge is not that our youth are not hardworking or they are not aspirational.
Honorable, with respect, that is not what I've said. Please, I'm careful with the language. Take it easy. Take it easy. I haven't used the word our youth are not aspirational. I have not used the word our youth are not hardworking. If we want to have a national conversation which will solve your problem and my problem and our problem as a political class, let's do so. And I think around this table, the nation has offered us an opportunity as a political class to confront this matter. If we choose to do partisan politics, well, I will leave the jury out there to judge. And you may not have gotten a golden opportunity. So please, take it easy and deal with the question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The approach that some of us have used in resourcing our young people has been wrong. The manner in which we give out some of these items, it becomes giveaways. But if we put them through a program, a regime, and then we mentor them through a certain process, because other organizations are doing it. MasterCard is going through a similar program. Other international organizations are doing similar programs and are elevating poverty and resourcing people and taking them out. So we need to go back to the drawing board. We need to go back to these organizations and find out how they are doing it and why they are getting it right. And then we need to take out the politics. Fortunately for us, because we are politicians, we tend to look at our people first. And so we don't end up giving resources to people who genuinely deserve it. And that is what we must first check. Let's take out the partisan politics, and then let's begin to see the young people of this country as young people irrespective of which party they belong to. And let's listen to them. Let's put them in some incubators, build them, resource them, and we may get some coming out well. You may not score 100%, but with the right approach, right incentives, you may get a lot of them turning out right and then fixing this problem that confronts all of us. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Nominee, I appreciate your answer. That will be a happy one for a good theorist. But you and I know, as National Youth Organizer, your constituency youth organizers are expectant. Your regional youth organizers are expectant. The many youths who during the campaign took pictures with you are going to show you pictures that they were there with you. I agree with you that the approach by politicians could be a factor. But can we really detach from this? And can you assure the nation, including your own party members, that all social intervention opportunities aimed at empowering them, aimed at empowering the Ghanaian youth, will not be based on party lines, and that it will not be freebies. They would have to pay back to allow for another batch to benefit.
Mr. Chairman, I give assurances of the highest order. Thank you.
Now, I will lay a foundation on this same youth empowerment thing. You know, because I've been part of the District Assembly concept for a long time, I know this as a fact. President Rawlings, blessed memory, introduced this poverty alleviation intervention program. Many people got loans. they didn't pay. It became a cost to the state. Kufuor introduced Maslock. Many people got the funds, they didn't pay. It became a cost to the state. Professor Mills of blessed memory continued the Maslock and even further introduced some empowerment programs to support the youth. People did not pay. It became a cost to the state. President Mahama, in his first term, continued. I remember State of the Nation address, some youth intervention programs. In 2017, when Akufo-Addo came into office, the records at Maslock was to the fact that a lot of people took the funds, did not do what they did. In MPP, 8 years, same thing happened. They didn't pay. You've come in. Once again, share with us, with timelines, when you intend to introduce a system to change the psyche of our youth, to the effect that when it comes from a political source, please pay. Because if you don't pay, it becomes a cost to the state. And there will be nothing more left for your brother or your sister who is yet to get it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wish I could share with you timelines, but it is not feasible at this stage. I know what the problem is. We all know what the problem is. But we need to sit down with the state actors and have a thorough understanding of what the problem is. When that is done, I'll be able to tell this committee at a later date how long it's going to take us to fix the problem you are referring to. Thank you.
Honorable colleague, do you have your own youth agenda as you go into the ministry?
My vision sits with that of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama.
What is that vision? Share with us your vision on youth development and empowerment.
Is to build a merit-based society, a society where opportunities avail themselves to every young person, where we will empower them for them to take up the challenges of national development that awaits all of us. Thank you.
My worthy brother, I know you would have challenges. It's not easy, but with God on your side, I know it shall be well. It's not easy. I wish you well, and I pray that you are able to implement this great vision of yours. Thank you so much indeed for indulging me.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Order.